All right, folks, we are live on the live stream, and this one is one I've been looking forward to all week. I'm going to be talking with someone that I've been a big fan of for a long time. On my channel, it focuses on emergency preparedness topics, and one of the things that we all have in common is that most of us are carrying some kind of phone on us, and I've been getting into being a little bit more private on the stuff that I do on my phone because it's basically a whole tracking device that I carry with me, but it has a lot of cool features that I also like. And so I try to find the best balance between the two, and doing a lot of research on, encrypted text messaging or browsing or using VPNs. I stumbled upon the Hated Ones channel, and that's who we're going to be talking about with today, which I'm super excited about. I have a link in the description box below. You could go to the Hated One on YouTube. He's also available on BitChute as well. So that channel's over there. But primarily, the YouTube channel is where I go to get my Hated One information. Covers a lot of various topics with regard to privacy, with security, with recommendations for apps, recommendations for OSs. And he's able to present it in a way that for newbie people that are just starting to get into this, they could understand the overall concepts, because you could go really deep into this. So for this particular live stream, we're going to keep it fairly basic. If you have some comments or chat questions in the chat room that you've always wanted to ask the Hated One, now's the time to do it. So let's just get going right with it. So we're going to bring on the Hated One to the live stream. So welcome, Hated One, and we have the voice of you. So
hello, thank you very much for bringing me on. I've been a long-time fan as well, quite a secret fan. Never expressed this in the comments or anything. But when you made that video featuring one of my videos actually about smartphone privacy, that actually caught my eye. And I have to say that you are making very informative videos on prepping that are actually also very close to security, like operation security, or even smartphone security, digital security, internet security. And you've made some videos on gray man or gray man tactics.
Yeah.
I remember watching one of yours in the past, and they've been pretty good. So our topics are actually quite interconnected, much more than people would actually think. But although privacy is for everyone.
Yeah, totally. Well, thank you so much. And that's what really, I'm really honored about that, because I've, again, kind of a big Hated One fan for the information that you provide with the digital privacy. And I think a lot of I come from a preparedness lane, and you come from more of like a digital privacy, surveillance, that kind of stuff. And I would call them, we have a term for it in the prepping community called prepper adjacent. So I find that the Hated One's content is prepper adjacent. We have a lot of similar things that are of interest to us. So again, this is going to be a big treat for me.
Well, I think we share a lot about this mindset, because I've been a prepper myself for a long time, for years, I would say, but not to a great extent. But it has changed throughout 2020 because of the pandemic, of course.
Yeah. I mean, what happened last year really I think it introduced a lot of people to prepping, that hey, this is more of a practical thing. It's not all about zombies and underground bunkers and everything. It's about the little things, as far as having some food and water stored up if you have to bunker down for a few weeks, or having your prescription medication, or having some backup money to pay for some bills if for whatever happens, in the masks and all of that. So it's definitely has hopefully made more people interested in preparedness. I think our grandparents and those before us, they were preppers too, but they just didn't call it that. It was just what you did. So
I think this is very analogous to the privacy community and the whole idea of digital privacy, because like a couple of years ago, preppers were usually depicted as some sort of crazy fringe people. And that was the case actually with privacy advocates as well, because there was a lot of conspiracy going around, like the government is always spying on you. Like there are some sort of secret groups in the world. The globalists are spying on you, and they've been all thought about as fringe theories that have nothing to do with reality. But since the Snowden leaks in 2013, that has massively changed, and we are now progressing. Actually, now in 2020, that has changed quite significantly as well, luckily. And it's quite encouraging to see that the mindset in the mainstream is slowly changing in both our communities.
Yeah, totally agree with that. And it was I was when we first got in contact, you had left a comment on the video that I did on like the prepper phone video, and then I responded, "Hey, it'd be fun to talk with you." And then you reached out to me through like my public email, and then okay, we're going to switch this over to something more encrypted. And so it was really cool. I felt like I was talking to Edward Snowden, just the kind of the security measures that you went into. Okay, let's get this over to let's get this dialogue off of Hotmail and move it over to something more, a little bit more secure. So that was really fun for me, actually. I was going to say
that's good.
I was going to say hello to some of the folks that are watching the live stream. So everyone, welcome on the live stream. You're listening to the voice of the hated one. This is a real surprise. So, Citizen Guardian, who's located in South Africa, welcome to the live stream. You're able to watch this one on the Saturday morning. It seems to be one that West Coasters in the United States, East Coasters, and even those in Europe could watch. So if you're watching this live, welcome. Even those that are in that European, African time zone, that hopefully this one works out for you. So a lot of people just in general saying hello. So if you have any specific questions, leave them in the chat room. Bernie will try to let me know on the real good ones, and we'll try to get to as many as we can. And so yeah, it's Apex Preppers in the background. Everyone's just saying hi. Hi. Hello, Prep for it. Good to see you. Let's do a couple little hellos, and then we'll start. Let's see, we have someone from Serbia. This is awesome. And Ron Braxman, Ron Braxman has great videos too. I like Ron Braxman. The people just talking a little bit about general privacy stuff. What about hacking? I don't know if we're going to talk about hacking. This is so the hated one is loved by me. That's great. There is no. This is from Daniel. There is no security on the internet. We have, So part of me just wishes I just go back to the 1980s where there's no phones, but. I have a YouTube channel with my face, and it's probably scanned, and they're probably making some robot version of the Urban Prepper somewhere by now. So it might be too late for me. But people are talking about the weather. So okay, cool. So let's. Bernie's watching. He's going to let me know on the cool stuff to do. So I thought maybe to start off with, could we talk a little bit about your? I wrote it as the hated one mission statement. So. What are the things why did you want to start your channel? What are the things that you really wanted to show to your audience, and just your general, like, kind of, maybe not your background, but just what you're hoping to do through the channel? And you've created a really great channel that's reaching a lot of people. So I thought maybe we could start from there and then go to other topics.
Well, my general idea with the YouTube channel was just to make sure that I can do something to empower people with the tools, skills, and knowledge about things that will enable them to be more free and more autonomous or independent, and also self-reliant. And my journey actually started with 2013 NSA Snowden leaks that revealed that the government is actually, in fact, spying on everybody's phone calls, their metadata, and obviously all of these upstream and downstream dragnet surveillance methods that were tracking people's emails and conversations, and everything that was not encrypted was basically collected and used by governments and advertisers and everyone that could get their hands on it. And I started this journey, and back in 2013, it was quite difficult to find the tools and the knowledge to protect yourself. But gradually, more and more companies and organizations and groups starting popping up with their versions and alternatives, and it started becoming easier for non-technical people to make certain steps to better protect their privacy bit by bit, to be less exposed, less naked on the internet. And I realized that, well, the problem isn't obviously that we don't have the tools to protect ourselves. The problem is we don't have the education. So this is like the purpose of my channel, is to provide the necessary education for general audience. And some of my videos are even geared towards people like I would say like my grandma. So I want my grandma to be able to protect her privacy. So even if she doesn't know how to do a lot of things, I still want her to be able to safeguard, to use some of the tools to safeguard her data. So that's sort of my approach. So it's really geared towards everyone, even the more significant threat models, like maybe some journalists, maybe some activists. Although if you are under severe, it's called APT, Advanced Persistent Threat, I recommend that you consult with a security expert if you can afford it, and if you have the ability to do so.
Yeah. Awesome. That's one person wrote here. Surprise, he is Edward Snowden. No, I don't think so, but who knows? That's from the preparedness guy. Yeah, I think that one, Edward Snowden, I think was kind of is a super interesting person, and the stuff that he's had to do for security, and usually if it gets the Edward Snowden stamp of approval, then usually I try to go towards it. Like I know that you've talked about Signal on your channel as well. I have some of your videos just playing right now, just for some eye candy on the screen. So we have some general questions coming here. I'm going to try to get to those shortly. Someone says they didn't get the notification. Yeah, maybe I've been having that problem lately, where it's just sometimes people just aren't getting those security. You talked about this. This is from Denise Drake. Please talk about what a security expert could do for us. So is that someone that you hire and they come into your home and take a look at your security, or can you talk a little bit more about that?
So a security expert is somebody who is working in the cybersecurity industry, either they have some sort of academic expertise in that area, or they've been developing usually some cryptographic tools, or they've been working in some network security industry, information security. There's a wide array of positions that you can occupy as a cybersecurity expert. And what these people can do is that they can suggest you things that you can improve based on your threat model. So threat model is basically an analysis of the most significant risks that you face, and that is very different based on your situation, based on your position in time and space. For example, some geographic areas are much harsher on activists than others. So these activists will actually need to know how to protect their devices so that they are not hacked, so that their communications are not intercepted. For example, some whistleblowers, they want to make sure that they don't have any tails from these advanced persistent threat actors like NSA or other usually state-sponsored adversaries. And because one of the things that can happen is that your smartphone, whether it's iPhone or Android, it can receive a message, and you don't even need to receive a notification about that message, and it will take over your phone completely, and all of the data, even if it's encrypted, will be in the hands of the adversary, and they can do whatever they want with the data. And actually, people were killed through this attack. Like, obviously, the hack did not kill those people, but they were hacked, and then these adversaries were able to go after them in physical terms, find their location. So this is what a security expert can do for you, although they are quite expensive, because cybersecurity experts, especially those that work in mobile operating systems, it's incredibly rare, and they're very well rewarded on the market globally. Like they're millionaires basically.
Wow. Well, there you go, Denise. That's the answer to your question. So that was a really great answer too. One of the things I was hoping to dive into a little bit is I don't know, maybe to start off with, because I know a lot of the people that are watching here, maybe they haven't rooted their device, or they're flashing ROMs or using F-Droid or anything like that, or maybe they're just starting off with it. And I know you have some videos with regard to some simple privacy step for the newbies. So just I know that you've covered this, and I'll put links to in the chat room for the specific videos that inspired me. But what are some of the simple things that you would recommend to, like you mentioned, like your grandma or my mom or someone like that, to be just a little bit more private? Because again, it's hard to be completely anonymous, but like when I'm going to a clothing store, I'm not trying to hide who I am at the clothing store when I'm trying on clothes. I just don't want to change into clothes out in the public. I want to go to a private room, and I kind of treat my phone the same way, as being private in that way, where I'm not trying to be anonymous, but trying to be a little bit more private with my information. So what are some things that you would recommend for the newbies that are watching right now?
So if you don't want to learn anything and you just want to take the steps, the most important aspects that you need to protect are your search records, your browsing habits, your social graph, and your purchasing records. So the way to protect your search records is easy. Just switch to Duckduckgo. So that's a privacy-respecting search engine. Is based in the United States. There are some others like Quant that's based in France, I believe. And there is SirX. So that's search, but CH is replaced with X. Cirx.me, that's also an option, but DuckDuckGo is like the easiest way to switch to. It's an app on phones as well.
Yep.
Then browser records, browsing habits, these are collected by your internet service provider, the government, but also providers of browsers. So you should switch from Chrome to something like Brave or even Firefox.
Yeah.
Those are both available across all different platforms. The most preferable solution would be something like Tor browser, because Tor browser will kill the internet service provider tracking and government tracking as well. And that is slower because it is rerouting your traffic through 3 individual hops across the globe. That's what actually makes your identity invisible on Tor. And then what did I say? Social graph. So social graph is basically all of the metadata about your contacts. So it's end-to-end encryption is actually no longer enough. There is a famous quote from a former U.S. intelligence director who said, "We kill people based on metadata." And that is actually true. So that it's who you talk to, how long, how frequently, what time, where. So all of these information that basically, like, you think of an envelope. So the government is not allowed to actually open your envelope and read your letter, but they can weigh the envelope. They can measure the dimensions of the envelope. They can read the address bar and see who you are trying to send a letter to. So that is what you are trying to protect. And the best way to do it is just to simply install Signal. It's not the most ideal solution, but right now it is the best solution for most people. So that's on signal.org. This is available on iPhones as well as Android. This is a very secure encrypted messenger, and it's much better than WhatsApp or iMessage and all of the other ones, because it's also protecting your metadata. So you can optionally share your metadata so that you can synchronize between devices, or if your phone is destroyed, you can transfer your data to a new phone, but it is encrypted with your PIN or even a passcode if you want to. And it's one of the state of the art. It's the best encryption protocol out there that there is. It's the best implementation of that protocol as well, because it's completely open source. It is non-profit. It's not tied to any of the big tech companies. So it is really protecting your metadata. There are no ads, and there is no tracking of who you talk to, how long, etc. And then your purchasing records. That is the most difficult one. But the best way to do it is to just whatever you purchase online, that is going to be collected by the retailer and whoever that retailer is partnering with, and that is a lot of people, actually, a lot of different companies. So Google's, for example, and Facebook, they're all tracking what you buy online. But the way to prevent that is to compartmentalize it into different. Into having a separate email address for that retailer, having a separate even browser, if you can do that, separate IP address, so that'll be something like with a VPN. And if you can make a purchase in a retail store, definitely use cash. Don't use club cards, membership cards that they tell you, oh, you can have a discount with us if you sign up for this card. Don't use those. Those discounts, okay, they can give you like 10% discount, but they are using your data.
Yeah.
And don't pay with debit cards, credit cards. I'm not sure if the prepaid ones are as private as they claim to be, but sometimes they are not. But just use cash, and they should be fine.
Awesome. Awesome information there. And I think all of those things kind of aligns again. That kind of information aligns very closely kind of to the preparedness mindset, as far as a lot of preppers are into precious metals or whatever. They want the cash, and also having cash on hand versus using their cards for things. So yeah, that was really awesome. And I've been a big fan of Signal for a while now. And I was really happy that you used it as well. So one of the things I've always been concerned about, and well, I was also hoping to talk about the metadata information too, but just having one of the large corporations just buy Signal. Okay, now you're Facebook. So is there any threat of that happening with some of these, DuckDuckGo just being sold to Google, or Signal being sold to Facebook? Do you worry about that?
So Signal is a non-profit and it's open source. So the threat of it being sold to any particular company is very low. In fact, Signal has a lot of donations, and it's also making partnerships. Like back in the day, Signal made a partnership with WhatsApp, so that WhatsApp would implement Signal's encryption protocol, and Signal got money for it. And I think they made the same partnership with Skype. So Signal is basically spreading their encryption protocol to other companies, and that's how they can make money as well. So they don't need to make money from you, but there is a lot of donations coming to Signal, so Signal doesn't have to be sold. And it's a non-profit, so the threat of it is very, very low. And even if it happens, Signal is completely open source. That is, the entire protocol and the entire app is licensed so that other developers, if they come in, they can take Signal, Signal's source code, their software, and they can create a copy of Signal without any sort of copyright infringement or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, even if Signal fell into the wrong hands, we can just create another fork of Signal, another alternative, and we can just switch to it. And Duckduckgo is a private business. It can be sold to another company, and it is US-based, which is a concern. But as of right now, it is the best solution. So, the benefit of Duckduckgo is that it does not log you, and it even offers an onion service, which you can access through the Tor browser, and that way they are not even able to access your IP address. So the fact that DuckDuckGo does not log your search queries, and they are not tied to your personality, there is no search engine customization or personalization of your search results with DuckDuckGo. That is something reassuring, that even if DuckDuckGo was sold to another company, it wouldn't have that potential company would not have access to your past records.
Awesome. I've ever since I switched over to DuckDuckGo, I first started getting into this when I started going into stores and they were tracking my GPS. Like I went to my wife and I were looking at a rowing machine at the time, went into a rowing machine store, and then on all my computers for the next 2 weeks, I was just getting rowing machine ads and stuff. And so, but when I was doing searches, it really helped me out switching over to DuckDuckGo from Google, and it makes me feel a little bit better too. So I want to try to get to some of these comments because there's a lot coming in. I see a lot of familiar faces. Good to see Canadian Prepper here. Really great video. Thank you, Canadian Prepper, for watching. And Canadian Prepper he recently did a video where he talked about if it's for free, the product is me. So like if you're using the service for free, then the product is you, and the whole stuff about the relationship mapping is seems like where they're making the money from on that.
That is actually not entirely true, if I can jump into that.
Yeah, please.
So there is a massive community of free and open source developers on the internet, and these people are developing their products for free. That means free at a cost to consumer, but also the license to the code is free, which means that there is no copyright. It's not copyrighted. It's not protected by law, which means that you can take it. You can take their product, and you can create your own version of that product, if that makes sense. I'm really trying to make sure that everybody understands this, because it's not free as in free beer. It's free as in the literal word freedom. Yeah. So you have these freedoms with the software, that you can take the software. For example, you can take Signal or Linux, and you can remove whatever code you want. You can add another code that you like. You can make modifications to it, and you are not going to be prosecuted by the government for infringement. And that is very important, because these free and open source alternatives, free and open source software, this is an essential component of liberating the internet as it is, because right now internet is incredibly centralized, and free and open source developers and the movement in general is a key element in fighting for decentralization of the internet. So it's not true for everything. If it's free and open source software, it's not that you are the product, it's that they have a different business model. So for example, DuckDuckGo makes money from ads, but these ads are based on the interest area of the query. So for example, if you search for a phone, you're going to get ads for a phone on search on DuckDuckGo, but these ads are not going to be following you around your browsing habits or devices, and they are not tied to your personality. So they are not personalized or customized to you, and that is a very important distinction. So it is possible for a free product to be sustainable and have a business model, but and not be spying on users and not making users their own as their product that they would sell to advertisers.
Yeah, and I think that particular quote that Canadian Prepper was more in relation to Gmail and Facebook and some of the larger ones, not like DuckDuckGo or the one
Yeah,
our
it
friends.
is. I'm actually a huge fan of Canadian Prepper.
Yeah,
So what is the case that if it's a publicly traded corporation, so that
yeah,
is a corporation that has shareholders, and if their product is free, then you are the product because they
yeah.
have to always, increase the shareholder value.
So, is it okay if we do some rapid fire Q&A? Because I'm a little backlogged and I want to make sure to make this interactive with some folks. And there's some specific questions there.
Sure, let's do it.
Yeah. So this one I wanted to get to. This is from Joshua. How do you like your System 76 laptop since your review video?
It's very good. I love it.
Great. There we go. Rapid fire. Here we go. Is Telegram a good option?
No.
And people are saying Telegram is not good. Why is it not good?
Telegram does not encrypt your messages by default. You actually have to enable it specifically for some sort of private or secret chats or whatever. This is suboptimal. It is not ideal because all of your communication should be encrypted by default. It should not be just for specific communications. It's also not providing end-to-end encryption for group chats, group calls, etc. So it's a very you have Signal. Signal is much more superior. Just use Signal.
Yeah, I do have a Telegram for this channel to post out kind of like what I do on Twitter for notifications for videos and like for this live stream. But yeah, you definitely have to specifically go and say that I want this to be in, which is not by default. Great. There's one of these questions that I think a lot of people probably has. Is it too late for us? This is from the Prevernus guy. Because we've been doing these, we've been using our phones and doing stuff online for years now. There's probably have all sorts of fancy relationship mappings to who we are, who our friends are. You see that from Facebook when they recommend friends, and even your LinkedIn profile or wherever, where they know someone that we went to school with back in 3rd grade or something like that. Is it too late to really do anything about this, or can we just do the best that we can at this point?
No, it's never too late because in the next few years, in fact, in the next year, there will be more data collected about you if you don't do anything than there ever was in your entire life.
Yeah.
So the data collection is actually increasing with the dissemination of tracking technologies across platforms, and that is devices and apps and websites. And also there is increasingly more data about you that you generate automatically just because you live. So for example, your heartbeat, your pulse, and your health records, and many other pieces of data that are coming in as the technology develops is still just a new territory. So it definitely does make sense to protect yourself as soon as you can. It's not that in the past you have been tracked that it's no use to protect yourself going forward. It definitely does make sense.
Yeah, it's definitely scary. Like what, people are wearing smart watches and whether they're Apple Watch. And yeah, when you talk about like what you just mentioned about the health stuff, I don't think we've really seen like what what that might entail. So, as far as your heartbeat and health insurance and all that kind of stuff, where that comes into play.
There are actually health records that I actually made a video on it.
Yeah, that was a great video. Yeah, let me get that.
Yeah. So it's a video that is actually talking about how these there are these companies that are actually collecting your data from wherever they can collect it, and they are building a score that they give you, and they are selling this score as a ranking to insurance companies. And these insurance companies then adjust their offerings to you, and they are adjusting it based on their advertising, based on their proximity to you, based on how they actually market the offers that they make to you. So it's all the data is collected because it has a use to the people that want to have that data about you.
Yeah, I just posted, for those of you watching, if you're watching live, I posted that particular video. If you go to the Hated Ones channel, by the way, if you're just tuning in now, we're talking to the Hated One, which is really awesome, live, and we're talking about privacy, security, and in its relation to preparedness. That video that he's talking about there is your secret health score. You have a secret health score, and it's as dystopian as you as you thought. I think as it sounds.
As it sounds, yeah.
It's an awesome video. Let me just play it in the background. Oh crap! Why haven't I liked that one yet? Okay, it's like now. Okay, cool. Let's move back to rapid fire Q&A. Let's see. This is one that a lot of these apps, as far as the whole contacts list, I recently made a video where I have I call it my social media burner phone, where I have a phone that's just for my YouTube channel, just for posting updates, and I have no contacts in it. I have no phones. I don't I don't take it out of the house. It's going through a VPN. I don't do text messages. I don't do anything with it. What do we do about the relationship mapping or the SIGINT for with a contact list? And I think someone wrote here, is there an encrypted contacts app?
So Signal is the only chat messenger that is encrypting your contacts. But when it comes to encrypting your contacts and syncing it, there is, I think it's called EAT Sync. So that is ETE Sync. And that app allows you to actually sync your contacts in an encrypted form.
Awesome. So, okay, there we go. Let me put that link in the description. I'm going to put this one in the chat room too, folks. So if you guys are watching this live, we're talking with the Hated One. Make sure that you go over to the Hated One's channel. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe to the Hated One. You're going to get a lot of this information and even more that we're talking about now. If you're watching the rerun of this in the year 2024, 25, we hope we made it that far. We hope that that we still have our channel. So let's see. I imagine that the topics that you make here, I don't know if you've had any kind of like throttling or censorship type stuff for you. I imagine they don't really want everyone doing this. What do you think would happen if everyone just went full on Hated One with regard to phone privacy? What would it do to the world, do you think?
Well, I think I would be dead by then. And if everyone went that way, then there would be no ads. Everyone would be using ad blockers, either network-wide or just on the browser or in their apps. And there will be much less data collected, and there will be much more difficult for advertisers to actually, or even publishers to actually monetize their content this way. It would have to be, people paying for content with actual money and not data. Yeah. And the world would be like the cyber world would be much more secure. Like the rate of cyber attacks would drop significantly because people would be using much more secure devices. Because I obviously made a video on Graphene OS, so that's the most secure consumer grade operating system that you can get, and it's fully available to anyone for free at no cost. And if people were using that, then oh my god, that would be so awesome.
Yeah, so and I saw some people talking here in the chat room about the Graphite.io. So this is funny. I was worried that this was going to be a S show due to it being too mainstream, but seeing Graphene OS here shows that the Hated One knows his stuff. That's very true. So if you were going to recommend like an OS or device for people to use that want to just be a little bit more private, maybe not, they're not going to be anonymous or anything, but they're just going to be more annoying for the powers to be to really track. What OS would you recommend?
Well, the only OS I recommend is Graphene OS, which is basically Android. But when people say Android, they think Google. But Android is in fact a free and open source operating system that Google is contributing to with their code. But when you think Google Android, it's the Google suite of apps, which is Gmail, Play Store, and Google Search, etc. But Android is actually completely separate from this. So Graphene OS comes with no Google apps. It has no connection to Google whatsoever. In fact, Graphene OS has made some contributions to the mainstream Android source code that has made Android more secure for everyone. But Graphene OS is its own project. It's its own operating system, and when it's based on Android, so that it has compatibility with Android apps. That is awesome, and you can use it in the most secure way possible because there is no Google tracking unless you install some Google apps on there that work. But other than that, it's the most private and secure mobile operating experience that you can get for sure.
Yeah, and what kind of device would someone have to buy for this? That you as far as physical device?
It's only Google Pixel phone. So it's very ironic, when it comes to the privacy and security talk. But Google is actually allowing you to flash different operating system on Pixel phones, and it doesn't even void the warranty. So actually, in this aspect, Google is true to the hacker core of their foundation, which they have long forgotten. But with this specific aspect, you can actually get a Pixel phone like Pixel 3a, 4a, 5a, etc., and you can install Graphene OS on it, or even Pixel 5. Like all of these Pixel devices. And you can have, actually, Google Pixel phones as hardware are the most secure Android hardware that is out there.
Yeah. The only thing I don't like about because I have one that I mess around with and does some flashing on as well. Actually need to upgrade. Is that I don't like that I don't have an aux port on there, which I do on the other ones. Which you did a video recently, and I'm going to try to go back to rapid fire Q&A because I know I'm still missing a lot of stuff. But you did a video with regard to the ultrasonic beacons, which I thought were super fascinating, and so one of the things I've been doing on the phones that I do have an aux port is putting one of these little mic locks on there. Could we talk a little bit about that particular video? I thought that was super fascinating. And then as far as what we could do for protecting, these phones listening to us, would a mic lock like this work, or is that useless? And I know also the gyro thing that you mentioned, this also comes into play as well.
Yeah, so for people who don't know, actually, ultrasonic cross-device tracking is just an expansion of Bluetooth-based cross-device tracking, and that is, there are these beacons out there that are listening to your identifiers in your phone, and they're trying to track you through either by tracking your location or even tracking what kind of content you're being exposed to, what kind of ads are running near you. So, for example, if you're watching TV and you have your phone somewhere nearby, that ad that is running in between the programs that you're watching is actually emitting high-frequency tones that you cannot hear. Most adults cannot hear those, but your phone can, and they are transmitting information at a rate of 20 bits, at around 20 bits per second. It's not a lot of information, but it's just enough to send your device identifiers or different advertising identifiers that allow these advertisers to actually track you and track what you are probably doing. And they are using mostly, obviously, your microphone for this, but also speakers can be reverse engineered for this purpose because it's just frequency, and anything that is electronic is basically emitting some sort of frequency. And if the frequency is within the range of the ultrasonic sound, which is above 16 kilohertz or above 20 kilohertz, it's usually going to be picked up by a receiver. And so your phone acts both as a receiver and a transmitter of these ultrasonic beacons. And it is very, very difficult to actually avoid those, because even if you put your phone in a Faraday bag and there's absolutely no radio connection, these are ultrawave sounds, and they're traveling through everything. They are not traveling too far. It's only like 65 feet or about 15 meters or 16 meters, but it is still far enough so that if there is, like, in a densely populated urban area, like, these beacons can actually cross-communicate with each other, and eventually they will find a device that is connected to the internet, and they will transmit your information. When it comes to protecting against it, I'm not sure what that lock is doing. Obviously, there is also gyroscope in your phone. The only way to prevent that is to just disable gyroscope, but only Graphene OS is providing this option as of right now. iPhones and normal Android phones don't have this option. But you can also have a phone like Librem 5, which allows you to disable electric current going into your mics and your gyroscope, your sensor as well. But it will still leave the speakers, which can be reverse engineered for this purpose. But speaker-to-speaker communication is not quite there yet. It's theoretically possible, but I have not found any commercial application of it. But there are commercial applications of gyroscope and microphone ultrasonic transmission.
Yeah, that was a super. I mean, if you guys want to stay awake late at night and freak out about stuff, watch that video. I put a link in the chat room for this particular.
So this is actually the real way how your phone is actually listening to you. It's not listening to, like, your voice or, like, this secret conspiracy that was floating around on the internet. But this is the way it's actually listening to you. And one of the way these beacons can be actually harmful is that if you have some sort of these assistant, like Siri or Alexa, Yeah, so if you have these, then you can have a malicious ultrasonic beacon that is sending commands to these voice assistants, and they can launch attacks by visiting malicious websites that you will not know about, and they will compromise your devices that way.
Yeah, so what you're saying, because it's ultrasonic, like, because I do a decent amount of measures, I think, but like I block my camera on my front-facing camera. I use these mic locks to stop the microphone and maybe the headset. I put them in a Faraday cage, oftentimes when I don't want to be tracked. But even then, these ultrasonic beacons have the possibility of it talking to all these devices. It's very Skynet Terminator type stuff to me, but which is scary. But yeah, this video, if you haven't watched this one already, folks, definitely watch it. I put a link in it. And go to the Hated Ones YouTube channel. Watch this one that says your phone is listening to you, and I've included a link in the chat room over here. I think it's an awesome video, but also scary too. So, yeah. So sometimes the videos that we watch, some Canadian Prepper also. When I watch a Canadian Prepper video, sometimes it keeps me awake late at night thinking about stuff. And with the Hated one, but I think that's good. I think it's good for people to think and not just be zombies. So. Great. So yeah, the time is just flying by, but I think we're covering so much cool things here. One of the things you were talking about a lot about like the VPN and the text messaging and the shopping and browsing stuff. We didn't talk too much about email. Are you a Proton Mail person, or what do you think for like a secure email that like besides using Gmail thing?
So any email communication is going to be fundamentally insecure, but it's much less secure than using something like Signal. But if you want to have a more private email experience, then definitely use something like Proton Mail or Tutanoda. So Proton Mail is based in Switzerland, and Tutanoda is based in Germany. And what's good about these providers is that even if you are not sending encrypted messages to people that don't have these email services, at least Proton Mail and Tutanoda are not selling your messages to advertisers, or they are not monetizing your messages. That's what Google has been doing. That's what Microsoft, Yahoo, and all of these mainstream providers are doing with your actual messages in your Gmail. Like actual third-party people, are reading your emails. Mm-hmm. It's not just like some sort of algorithm finds, an ad that to throw on you. Like actual people are reading your emails. And the one way to avoid it is just to use Proton Mail or Tutanoda. They're both good.
Yeah, I use those, and I have a few different Proton Mail accounts, and I think they're really, really awesome. It seems like the problem though is that if you're giving out your Proton Mail to people, you're still going to be, if someone puts out some mass email to a bunch of their friends, it's still going to kind of create that relationship map to try to figure out who you are. And it seems like there's not a whole bunch that you can really do to stop that kind of thing for the metadata
is not going to be very protected. You would have to take some additional measures outside of using Proton Mail to protect your metadata in that way. And all of your contacts would have to take those measures as well.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure out ways of stopping that kind of thing. Do I use one certain email account one day or one certain phone one day and kind of rotate it?
It's good to have email aliases. It's good to have multiple emails for multiple purposes, sort of compartmentalize it. So have different email for your social media accounts, different email for retails, different email for personal, professional communication, business, whatever.
Yeah, I use multiple emails for my the Urban Prepper side. I have multiple personal ones, and then I also have some various burner ones. I use a different one for cryptocurrency and all.
That's a good approach. That's a very good approach. Yeah.
Cool. All right, so I'm trying to, and then, and I know I'm not going to be completely anonymous, but I think at the end of the day, if someone were really to come and figure out, whatever they want with me, that this is just some prepper nerd that's talking about, survival food bars or something like that. So maybe it's all for nothing. But here, let's go back to rapid fire Q&A. I know that Bernie's been sending some of the cool comments over here as well. First off, folks, if you're just tuning in now, you're a little bit late on the live stream, but if you're watching, maybe you could watch the rerun of this. We're talking to the Hated One, an awesome YouTube channel, over 300,000 subscribers that focuses. I like your about page. Mass surveillance is a backdoor into freedom of speech. Knowledge is power. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And I'm not a professional. I just try to spread the message I believe is important and nonpartisan and always will be. So it's a great channel. If you're interested in this kind of thing, or if you just want to get better at it, the Hated One's able to present it in a way that is easier to understand than going super deep into this. Like that you could get really deep into this kind of stuff. So I recommend the Hated One. I've been a big fan of his for a while now. I thought we could do some rapid fire Q&A over here. I'm going to try to do my best. If I miss any of these particular questions, and if you want, just leave a comment at the end of this particular live stream. We'll try to get to that as well. And there's one that was talking about, what are your thoughts on like ancestry DNA or 21andMe? That kind of stuff scares me, and I think they're building robot version of people. What do you think of those things?
I'm not really sure what that robot people thing means.
But there's a movie with what was it? Ewan McGregor, I think, where they made geez, what was the name of that movie? Where he was living in this life, but then he was actually the DNA clone of this person that's living in real life who it just wants to have his organs, basically. It was something like that. It was
I think the science is pretty far from that scenario, but
yeah.
needless to say, if you give away your DNA, it is going to be used by, as I said in the health record video,
Yep.
by these companies to create actual ranking of your consumer score of your health profile. And this profile is actually actively being used by insurance companies to leverage your insurance and actually either increase or decrease your fees, or if they can find some sort of pre-existing conditions or potential pre-existing conditions in your genetic code, they will definitely use that to make sure that they can make more money out of you when you pay your insurance. And that's something that I would never subscribe for, because it's just it's not even that precise as far as I have researched this whole idea. Because I've heard people that they have sent their DNA to all of these companies. They then all produce different results. But needless to say, I wouldn't trust these companies. In some cases, maybe in some jurisdictions, like maybe in Europe, but don't quote me on this. You can opt out of some sharing of your DNA, but we are talking about your DNA. Like, this is you. Like, this is the code in your body that is telling your cells what to do. And I think that this should be the most precious piece of data that is to know about you, and it should be extremely difficult to get it. I don't think there should be a market for monetization of this kind of data. So I would definitely recommend against this.
Yeah, it's definitely scary. I mean, I always worry that, I mean, it'd be pretty easy for them to get this information, because like if you ever got a blood draw, you can get your DNA from that. You see all the TV shows where they get it off of someone drinking a bottle of soda and then swabbing the outside of it. But yeah,
that is true, but that's a different story than you willingly actually sending your DNA samples to a company, and then that company is actually going to use that as a legal consent from you, that they can actually use the DNA data however they want.
Yep. Awesome. Let's see. Let's do some rapid fire ones. Privacy while traveling as a normal person, and I think you do a little bit of traveling. What are some quick tips for recommending on that?
Well, that obviously depends on your threat model, but if you're just trying to prevent advertisers from knowing where you go or what you do, just purchase everything with cash if you can. Obviously, that's not really possible and reasonable to do with something like airplane tickets, because they have to know your identity, because you're potentially crossing borders, and they just have to get your ID anyway. So there is like no real way around it unless owning your own plane or something like that. I don't know, but when it comes to just general commute in the city, just use cash if you can. But that's becoming less and less available in cities because they want you to use cards or some sort of identification. But just using cash, and also protecting your profile, because there's a lot of cameras inside these public transport vehicles, buses, trams, underground, whatever. So what you could do is that you need to be, you could be hiding specific parts of your face, like using really big sunglasses and a hoodie if you can, or a hat that covers parts of your face, or creates a shadow over specific aspects of your face, so that you can actually trick the AI, the facial recognition inside those cameras to not recognize you there.
Yeah, awesome. And I guess nowadays with everything going on with pandemic wise, having the face mask probably adds actually a layer of kind of gray man.
It actually does, although there are some.
They're working on it.
They are, but so far it's not been very practical. So wearing a mask is going to help. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. So, don't give your people saying don't give your DNA. Again, I'm gonna go try back to rapid fire mode. By the way, thank you EDC TV for the super chat over there. I saw. So let's see this. What do you use for secure calendars? Go back old school writing down.
So Tutanota and ProtonMail are actually rolling out their calendar options. There is MailFins that also has a calendar, and there are some encrypted calendar options out there. I think ItSync that I mentioned before has a calendar, but I'm not sure. And also Nextcloud is the big one. That's nextcloud.com, and they actually have a lot of tools, including Drive, cloud storage, obviously. So you can sign up for that and have, yeah, that's the one. Yep.
Great.
And you can use that for calendar as well.
Yeah, I'll put, folks, I'll put that in the chat room really quick. There we go. Oh, wow. Someone give some nice, there we go. Oh, cool. So sorry, I'm just reading something. Special thanks to, man, who did that? Citizen Guardian. Wow. Thank you so much. Showing the support, loving the live stream. Yeah, this has been a fun one. And it's going by really quick. So, but thank you so much. Raymond Ward, Urban Prepper, where'd you get your cell phone bags? You can get them from Amazon. You can get them from various places. I like the Mission Darkness one. Personally, they're a little bit more affordable, and they're pretty solid from the testing that I've done. Silent Pocket also makes it a good one. They're a little bit more expensive, but they're pretty fancy looking too. That's what I use for Faraday bags. I've been always, back growing up, I was kind of a big fan of that movie Enemy of the State with Gene Hackman and Will Smith, and it seems like a lot of the stuff going on there is stuff that now I'm going more and more that route, it seems.
Yeah, that movie is actually incredibly relevant today, because everything that has been shown in that movie, although technically incorrect, has been shown to be conceptually true.
Yeah. Are there any other movies that you would recommend if you wanted to inspire someone to maybe they're not woken up from this particular live stream or watching a hated one video, but is there a movie that would also similar to Enemy of the State that you think would help encourage someone to look into this more?
I think the Snowden biography is a good movie. Snowden, it's just called Snowden, but also like the Citizen4 documentary by Laura Poitras, that's very crucial to watch. And other than that, just any sort of cyberpunk movie genre is going to be good, because that's going to be having aspect of this information. Obviously, if you're watching the UK show that I think is being sold to the HBO now, it's called Black Mirror. They have some very interesting aspects of technology, and a lot of that is actually related to data and privacy. So awesome. There is actually a TV show that is incredibly amazing, and it's called Mr. Robot. That is a show that has aspects of privacy, anonymity, security. Obviously, it's going to reveal a lot about how you can be hacked, because there are actually like real life technical examples in that show that are very well crafted, with very good storytelling.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so definitely watch that if you enjoyed that series. It's going to teach you a lot about this stuff.
Awesome. Let's see, it's flying by the time. So someone put best phone. Okay, we covered the best phone in OS, so we got that one. They said Gopher or Gemini. That's from Raul.
I'm not sure what those are.
Okay, we're skipping that one. Can prepper communities create their own self-sufficient economy with their own bag? That's gonna be tough, but man, that'd be cool. I'd be down.
It is possible.
Yeah. Let's see.
And if it is, Monero is the way.
Yeah. Yeah, preppers. I know most preppers. I've been getting back into a lot of the precious metals things lately, and going back towards silver. I used to be really big into it back in 2008 and 2009. Mr. Robot is a great show. That is true. Yeah, Mr. Robot is amazing. Yeah, so I haven't watched Mr. Robot. I've heard of it though, and so now that you said I have to, that's good. I'm gonna watch it. So
it is very realistic. There are actual like experts that have been advising that show, so it's actually very real.
Yeah. Someone put, what is Gemini? So we're looking that up. So what about our vehicles? Well, I have stuff that I do for prepping on vehicle related, but is there anything, that you would think of on vehicle type privacy?
So as the world moves towards like these electric vehicle stuff, and not just electric, but also the computerization, or how to say, just basically digitalizing vehicles. Yeah. So your actual, like the way we think about vehicles today is actually not what they really are, because vehicles in the past were just these mechanical machines, but today there are actually computers. They're actually running an operating system, and that operating system, of course, it can be hacked. It is vulnerable. It is always going to have vulnerabilities. There is no such thing as a completely secure software. So you should keep that in mind, that you are opening up a whole new world of vulnerabilities that have not been even conceptually conceived by people just a few years ago. Okay, so that's another level of issues to think about. But obviously, with these companies now making these automated vehicles, they are collecting your data. They are definitely collecting your travel routes, where you go. This is your metadata that is actually going to be revealing a lot about you. And in the future, I'm pretty sure that there will be ads running inside your vehicles, like we have ads on your phone. So you will have your vehicle, and it will be showing ads. But that will be when these vehicles are actually allowed to be driverless in the future. So maybe a couple of years into the future, when it's legally allowed, then we can definitely see that you will have some sort of screen that will be throwing ads at you, and that will be our new reality.
Yeah, there's some cool YouTube videos where they show like the reason why we have these buildups in traffic and how they happen. It's the whole human element versus if you had a bunch of computers doing it, that it would be a lot more efficient. And me having a 10-year-old son I'm scared of him driving someday because there's a lot of jerk drivers out there. I worry about that, but I also don't like really the idea of giving up that kind of control for transportation. It's definitely scary stuff but I have other, oftentimes when I'm driving, I drive with my devices in Faraday bags, and then I'll take them out every once in a while. So I like the idea of just, kind of like the Three Amigos at the end scene. I don't know if you remember watching that movie where they were just popping up all over in the last battle scene. Oh, they're over there. Now he's over there. I kind of get a kick out of that idea. Like, oh, Urban Prepper's over there. Wait, now he's over there. So
the way we can make this better in the future is if we really, really fight really, really hard for decentralization of this technology, for making sure that it's free and open source, so that we can actually hack it ourselves rather than having hacker groups that are malicious. So that when you buy a Tesla, for example, you can actually remove the code that is tracking you without Tesla shutting down your car remotely.
Yeah, I really think most of the problems that we have in the world would be remedied with transparency, with like kind of the openness, with it, kind of that whole mindset towards that versus how it is now. Whether it be self-driving cars or with this financial stuff or political stuff, doesn't seem to matter. It seems like transparency it helps resolve a lot of these type of issues and showing light to things. But
licensing is actually very important. So it's not just about transparency. I just want to clear this out, because transparency is just one aspect, but just knowing about bad stuff, it's not going to remove that bad stuff. You actually need to be allowed to remove or modify whatever piece of software that you are using, and you are not allowed to do that right now. Only with free and open source software. But whatever app you download, whatever software is in your car, you're not allowed to change it, because that'll be actually copyright infringement, and you can get sued for it. You can actually go to jail if you do this in a large enough extent.
Very true point. So yeah, that's awesome. This person, let's see, not subbed to the Urban Prepper, but subbed to Hated One. YouTube still tracks my interest, and cool. Well, I hope you're enjoying the live stream on this one. It looks like a lot of people are enjoying it. We're right up there on the kind of the hour mark, and I was telling you that I'd rather have people wanting more than wanting less. Although this one is, I think people are really enjoying this one, and I think a lot of people are like seeing you on a live stream. Do you normally do live streams?
No, I've never done live stream before. This is first time.
Oh wow! I'm honored to be the host of the first Hated One live stream. That's a really cool. What are your thoughts on cryptocurrency? Really quick. I know it's a big topic, but
it is a massive topic. So for people to understand, Bitcoin was launched in 2008 after the financial crisis, and that was because of how the Federal Reserve and the government reacted to bailing out the big banks. And the idea was that, well, this is obviously unjust and unfair, because people who use the dollar, the currency, are being hurt by this. So the idea was to create a currency that people actually own. So Bitcoin came as a solution for that, obviously. And it has made significant progress since 2008, but fundamentally it's still a currency that people are supposed to own. And that's what gives this whole idea of Bitcoin value, that it's actually like this decentralized currency that is not owned by any single entity. And it is extremely important that we have this going forward. And it will have to replace the current monetary system, because it is very unjust when you have big mega corporations, of these investment banks getting trillions of dollars basically printed by central banks. It's not just the Federal Reserve, it's also in Europe, in Japan, in Britain. And then people are just getting crumbs, or not even that. But the problem with Bitcoin and all of the other cryptocurrencies, except for Monero, is that they have transparent blockchains, which means that all of the transactions are publicly broadcast, and it's forever, which means that every single coin from its point of creation to until the last blockchain is destroyed, like physically, is being tracked. It can be tracked. And that means that you have actually no financial privacy when you're using Bitcoin, because even if you create Bitcoin anonymously and you get some Bitcoin into your wallet anonymously, the moment you spend it with someone in like with your real name and real address, that person actually holds your information, and they could potentially, dox your wallet. But the solution to this is Monero, which actually gives an opaque blockchain by default. So all of your transactions are actually protected, and they cannot even be disclosed. So that's something that's very important to address. So far, Bitcoin has not addressed this, and if it is to become a like everyday currency and not just a store of value, it has to have this aspect of anonymization of the transaction history on the ledger, and Monero is doing it right now.
Yeah, awesome. So it sounds like you're pro, like the concept of it. You wish that Bitcoin would take some additional measures that others are. Then.
Yeah, I think that a blockchain cryptocurrency has to be private. We need to have financial privacy. You need to be able to keep private what you buy, because you can be buying whatever there is that can reveal information about you that may be hurtful, and that can be abused by these scoring companies that give you a score that is abused by insurance companies or even other providers. So.
Yeah, and I mean, I definitely don't like the idea of just printing money too. I wish we went back to kind of a gold standard, but that's for another topic, another conversation.
Yeah.
I was just going to do one final question with you. A lot of people are saying, if you guys like this video, I hope that you have. This has been a fun live stream. It went by so fast. We're talking with the Hated One on the Hated One's first live stream, and I'm super honored to have a host on the channel. Man, I'd love to watch just a regular Hated One live stream. I think that'd be. Let me know in the chat room if you'd like to see a regular Hated One live stream on his channel. I'd watch it all the time. I wanted to make sure I got to this question. I saw that Citizen Guardian, and I think I also gave a super chat here. Question for the Hated One: taking Moore's law into account, do you believe that we may see the singularity in the next 50 years?
So I think that this person is referring to the AI singularity.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. We don't even have AI actually. Right now, we only have algorithms.
Yep.
When it comes to AI, what is usually referred to as it's an intelligence that is capable of doing more than it was designed to do. And so far, we only have algorithms that are doing this. Sometimes these algorithms learn things. Well, a lot of times they're actually learning the way that we don't understand it. I think these algorithms themselves are dangerous enough. They can control. They actually are controlling our discourse through social media feeds. All of that is algorithms deciding what we see and what we don't see. They can actually orchestrate dissent. They can actually manufacture even revolution. That's something that actually happened in. I think it was. I'm not sure which country it was specifically, but I think it was Myanmar or some other country where there was an actual genocide and of people that was actually. Orchestrated through Facebook, and now there are some calls for holding Facebook liable for this actually. So that is something that is more dangerous than this concept of singularity that we might not even reach. And I'm not really sure, because the AI is actually very far, and it's also connected to the neuroscience, and neuroscience is actually just making huge strides in research. In understanding brain and how consciousness arises, and we don't have that understanding fully up there yet, and it's going to take a lot of time, if ever. So these neural networks are very complicated, and I'm not sure if it's so easy to say that singularity will be reached in 50 years and then will be the Terminator.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, there you go, Citizen Guardian. There's you wanted the question from Hated One, and he answered it for you. So that was awesome. People are saying, please do more live streams. Yeah, I'd love a regular Hated One live stream on your channel. New York Defiant, household items, the block signals. Yeah, like a trash can, metal trash can is like a Faraday cage. Again, it's all coming back to a lot of people are talking about the Bitcoin and everything.
So any sort of metal cage that is conductive,
Yep.
that is conducting electricity, blocks signals. So if you put it inside some sort of, even like if you have some wardrobe that is made of metal, and if you can isolate your items with, if you put them on like a rubber box or whatever, that will actually function well enough.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm not going to be able to get to all that. That's a funny comment. If Snowden joins this chat, I will be lit. It will
that would be lit, yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. So, yeah, we're talking about that. Well, folks, we've been talking. I want to be mindful of your time, and I really appreciate you just spending the time to talk with my audience, and hopefully people that are watching this real time really enjoyed this. I had a great time. I know that we're not going to be able to get to all the comments. That there's ton that are still coming in here, but if you're watching this live, I really hope they enjoyed it. Yeah, smash the like button if you like this type of video. We could use all the help that we could get. I'm sure that the powers that be probably don't like our conversation on this one, but we're doing it in a way that we want to make sure, again, it's not that people are doing bad stuff. They just want to be more private, just like I like being private when I'm going to the dressing room at a clothing store and trying on the new Urban Prepper underwear or something. I want to be more private. I don't care about the people. I'm not doing anything bad in there, and I'm not trying to hide my identity. But I just want to be more protective with those kind of things. And the Hated One definitely is a leader in this field on YouTube and online, also on some alt tech sites as well. Again, if you haven't already, if this live stream hasn't convinced you to subscribe to the Hated One, just do it. Just trust me. Do it a 30-day money back guarantee, and you'll really enjoy it. You're gonna get something out of it. And yeah, there's gonna be some videos that are gonna keep you up at night, like it keeps me up at night. But I think that gets the gears turning, and it's good to think about these kind of things. So looks like people. I'm just gonna do some quick flash through. We need 50 more likes. And the Hated One too. People, time. There we go. Everyone's just thanking this one. I think this was a blast so far. I really appreciate you spending the time to do your first live stream on my channel. And again, I'm a super fan of yours. I'd love to keep this conversation going. Would you be up for talking in the future about this kind of stuff?
For sure. Yeah, this is very interesting, and it's a deep rabbit hole. You can go really deep into this whole privacy, anonymity, and security, because it's a cat and mouse game. You do something to protect yourself, but then you realize, oh, well, there is another hack or there is another vulnerability out there, and then you need to rework your maybe entire model and do something from scratch sometimes. So it's a never-ending battle. It's something that will always be relevant. So definitely in the future.
And we didn't even really get to some of the kind of the prepping stuff, and we dived on all sorts of stuff, and a lot of it was geared by those of you that are watching live in the live stream. So that was fun. Hopefully this was an interactive experience for everyone, and hopefully this live stream still has value in the months and years to come. So everyone, I hope that you guys enjoyed watching this one. Again, we were talking with the Hated One. Make sure you subscribe to the Hated One's channel for more information like this, and he's going to deep dive into all these different areas. So as you see, a lot of valuable information, and I hope everyone stays safe out there, and thanks for watching. See you guys next time.
See ya.